Never miss any conversation. Download the podcast on power987.co.za and listen at your convenient time.
This is Power Talk indeed, Bantwana Benkosi, sithetha nge-Afrikaans, and I've got online producer of Barakat, Ephraim Gordon. Mr. Gordon, I wanted to take you up on that thought about this historic hegemony of Afrikaans as a language exclusive to the sort of white supremacist establishment, and a language that then the rest of its majority speakers have to wrestle it, so to speak, from the empire. And your work in film is part of that particular struggle on the one hand. But I wanted to ask about, over the last 30 years, the post-democratic state in advancing precisely this struggle. What would be your measure of that?
Well, I think there has been shifts and changes, and it continues to change, right? The issue is not the pace at which it changed. The issue is how it changes. I think we live in a society where the majority of Afrikaans speakers are brown and white, right? I consider colored South Africa as part of black South Africa, but for the purpose of this discussion, I would say brown and white, right? So what that does then is create then exclusive spaces where Afrikaans is celebrated, and it's not open to the rest of the country. It's open to brown and white, right? Not because it excludes anyone, but these are the people who share the language, right? Being colored and being Afrikaans speaking is quite a uncomfortable position to be in sometimes, because I share language with white South Africa, but I share politics with black South Africa. And that's a difficult space to be in, where in a country of mudslinging, you know. So things are changing, and they're changing at the pace that it does. But I also think sometimes, if you look at SABC now, there's almost no content for Afrikaans speakers. So what that means, based on the stats, that the overwhelming majority of the Afrikaans speaker is colored or part of black South Africa. It is then said that this government doesn't serve those people. And also the white South Africans who watch would like to see content in their language. So that's a difficult pill to swallow, right? To understand that if I look at what a South African looks like and sounds like on television, I don't see myself. So, which is why there's a lot of arts festivals. And like this weekend was at Worcesterfest. And KykNet, I think, because it's got a great business strategy, KykNet understood the need to provide content to a broader spectrum of people, right? But it also then, it's the responsibility of filmmakers and storytellers to tell the political stories that the broadcasters are scared of telling, right? And we don't have to be on the nose with these things. We can tell a story of a colored family, exclusively being them, colored people wrestling with ourselves as to who we are in the new South Africa, but without making obvious political statements. The fact that it's there, that it exists, is a political statement in itself.
The there-ness of it there. It seems to me, I mean, there's a very powerful project, like as you explained, your film wrestling against one of the sort of image of colored people as images of constant gangsterism, violence in film and television, to try and tell the lives that are much more complex, that there is love, there is much more loss, that is not just a loss to violence, as it were. There is gratitude, there are gifts and all of that. But again, there's also the point of you can tell those lives without always having to say there is a rainbow nation. You can tell those lives on their own and on their own terms, that we can speak Afrikaans without the presence of the bus, as it were.
Yeah. I think the concept of the bus is something that I that I reject, because Afrikaans, I believe, belongs to all who live in it. We all speak it, just like the country. I don't think there should be any owner of my language. No one determines the standards of my language, and the words that come out of my mouth are called into being by me, the person who owns it. And I think if Afrikaans' image is going to shift, it needs to shift to the idea that Afrikaans is actually the most democratic language in the country, because it actually has the power to unite people. But unfortunately, its history speaks something differently. I think Afrikaans has an important role to play, not more important than any other language. But I think people, when we speak of Afrikaans, when we speak in Afrikaans, we must understand that what we speak is political. Afrikaans is political no matter how you look at it, because it has the potential to cross boundaries. It has the potential to bring people together. It must just be understood as an act of politics. And the moment we understand that as Afrikaans speakers, we will understand our place in this country.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Ephraim Gordon, the producer and director of Barakat. You didn't clarify, is Barakat a dialect of Afrikaans?
No. So,
okay.
There's a dialect called Afrikaans.
Afrikaans.
Yes,
and
so how we speak it at the Cape.
Yeah, in the film, that's the language that's actually used.
Yes, Afrikaans largely, but specifically in the film, because it's of the Muslim community, there's a lot of kind of the Malay heritage. So that's another sub-dialect of Afrikaans. You know, if you go to the Northern Cape, there's another dialect. In the Eastern Cape, it's another dialect, and it's normally infused by what the dominant language of that region is.
Is Afrikaans like Afrikaans from the Cape?
Just like that, maybe.
Yeah. How does it sound like? How does Afrikaans sound like? Like you're saying there is an Afrikaans that would be in the Northern Cape, which may differ, to speak.
No, Afrikaans, I think, is just one dialect. And
I
that's
see.
Specifically at the Cape. And, I mean, you were in Cape Town for a long time when you were in Parliament. I'm sure you heard what it sounded like, my brother. So, I think it's an exciting part of our language. It's something that when you hear it, I think you feel like home no matter where you are.
I see. Well, you and I can agree. Let's get the listeners, because I have to ask questions for the benefit of the listeners, for them to actually watch the film. I think that must be the way forward. And if one does want to watch the film at this moment, do you have a direction as to where listeners might be able to watch it?
Well, the film is still on Showmax, so you can just type in Barakat on Showmax and the film will be there. That's currently the only place where it's available. But I think Barakat is a film that can be enjoyed by people from all
walks of life,
because it's just family. It's a story about love, and that's universal.
Yeah. Ephraim Gordon, thank you very much for creating time, brother.
Thank you, my bro.
Dankie, my masse.
Yeah. Speak soon, brother.
Thank you. That's Ephraim Gordon, who is the producer and director of Barakat. It's still on Showmax, Bantwana Benkosi. We can watch it and watch that dialect.